He is coming off of a win, a 2-0 MMA fighter, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I'm going to kick this on the FM. I'm going to have him introduce himself, and we're going to have some fun. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio. I got a guest in studio. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we're going to share a lot of fun information.
Hey, guys. This is Felipe Rocha. It's good to be back here again, fighting out of ACS, Ed Ramos, and Unity Jiu-Jitsu.
All right. So ACS is... it's super close. ACS MMA right here in Lamar, Texas. We got Coach Drew Ratajczyk over there. He's been doing this for years, putting out some awesome fighters, fought himself. You just came off of a victory. What happened?
So originally, one of my teammates, Forrest, he was supposed to take this fight. And he was on the card, but then he got hurt the week prior to the fight.
Yeah.
So then Drew asked me, he's like, hey, do you want to do it? And I asked him, well, what's the weight? He goes, I was supposed to be at 185. So then we kind of got it bumped up to 195 because I just say I was a little chunky at the moment.
Yeah.
So then I had a big weight cut. And I cut 25 pounds the week prior to the fight. And so, I'm always training. So we're kind of like in camp all year round in a way, We just pick up the intensity when there is fights coming along, but I'm never there's never a time throughout the year when I'm not training. So then when the fight came along, went in there and once again we were just able to execute everything that we do in the training room. Just repetitions and everything. We just always stick to the game plan and execute it.
In jiu-jitsu, did you do a lot of weight cuts, or did you kind of compete where you walked around at, or both?
So I've competed in a lot of different weight classes in jiu-jitsu. Like when I was in my early teens, I used to be like very, very small. Like when I first started jiu-jitsu, I was at 159. I was a small kid.
I saw a picture of you the other day. I think it was at Blue Belt, on a stage or, medaling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, he looks skinny. You're probably 160 pounds.
I used to, my head is big. And then, since I was real skinny, my head looked even bigger. I was like, oh, my God, I got to put some muscle mass on to kind of make things even.
Yeah. So you're used to, you competed a lot of different weights, but even, last year, I guess whenever you're still a brown belt, you were ranked number 1. Were you cutting weight to compete at that?
No. So then after a while, I competed in jiu-jitsu for 13 years. And jiu-jitsu, in MMA, you got guys that fight 3 times a year, right? So then cutting weight those 3 times of the year, it's not really a problem. But whereas in jiu-jitsu, there's been times where I've competed for over 3 months straight, every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So then trying to keep a weight cut for over 3 months, it's tough, So then after a while, I just competed whatever I walked around at. And I was naturally, always between 205, 210. So I just always competed at a heavyweight.
Yeah, but in MMA, people, like you said, they compete less throughout the year, so you can cut weight. What was that experience like for you?
It wasn't bad. Not my favorite, because I do enjoy eating a lot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, because I knew it was a lot of weight that I had to cut. But my body, my body's always been real good to me, and then it did what it's supposed to do, and we dropped the weight.
What does a weight cut actually look like? What does it entail? Because I'll see videos, these guys in saunas, kind of sweating it out, and just not drinking water. What did you do?
So I switched my diet to a keto-based diet. It's just very low carbs, pretty much nothing at all, no sugar, just straight protein and vegetables. And then try to get my weight down as low as I could before I had to cut out water and everything.
Yeah.
So then the last 2 days before the fight, because normally I drink between a gallon to 2 gallons of water a day. And then because I sweat so much, man, if I don't, I'll start cramping like crazy. And then so then the last 2 days I cut it down to half a gallon. And then the last day it was a quarter. And I just did Epsom salt bath with like the grain alcohol. That helped me cut quite a bit. And the day of the weigh-in, I was in the sauna at 5 o'clock in the morning, like cutting the last few pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so then you show up. Show up to the weigh-ins. You're on. What did you weigh in at?
195.2.
195.2.
Yeah.
And I always wonder that. It's like, because you can use your scale
Mm-hmm.
or whatever scale you have, and then it's like, I wonder what the scale's going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any doubt in your mind, or like, I'm going to be close, or
That's why I went to the sauna in the morning.
just in case?
Because when I woke up, my scale said I was good, but I had it in my head. I was like, man, but what if their scale is like a pound or two heavier?
Yeah.
So then I just went to the sauna, and I was like, you know what? Just let me sweat out like a pound or two just to be on the safe side,
Mm-hmm.
And but it was just like the paranoia talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you had mentioned earlier, I guess, that the opponent that you had, he had, one of your teammates at ACS,
Mm-hmm.
and, there was an injury that happened. You took that fight. Did you know anything about the guy that you were fighting?
No, not in. I was not studying tape on him. Nothing.
It was a week. It was a week out anyways. There's no way you could have.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is what it is. Because right now we're still fighting at an amateur level. So for me, whatever experience I could get, like I said before, I don't care who it is for me. The game plan is always gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm constantly evolving. Like, I work endlessly on my striking, but I do know that my strong point is my grappling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think pretty soon, especially in this next fight, I may surprise a lot of people with how much I'm evolving. Coach Drew, I can't speak highly enough of the guy. He like helps me out so much, and we're making big things happen.
Yeah. So your next fight is scheduled for November 21st.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Sunday for Fury Fighting Championship, and that's going to be a middleweight fight for the middleweight title.
The title, yeah.
So you're 2-0 right now. You get this opportunity. You have to say yes, no matter who's on the other side, right?
Yeah. To me, even if it wasn't for the title, I would say yes. The way I look at it, it's I have had a hard time getting fights. It was the same thing in jiu-jitsu. Same thing has been happening in MMA. And the way I look at it is I don't care who it is that they offer to me, like, in my weight class, and even maybe even one above if it's a fight that makes sense, But we're fighters, man. This is what we're like. I'm not going to look at someone and be like, oh, I'm scared of him. I'm not going to fight. No, like, I don't care, I know I try to focus on things that I could control. Like, what can I control? I could control, like, my preparation. I can control, like, how I train. I can control my dieting. I can control my strength and conditioning. I can control the output that I give into the fight, right? Now, whether I win or lose, that's out of my hands, So I try to focus on what I can control. I don't worry about how many fights this guy's won. Like, oh, he's a knockout artist. Okay, if he knocks me out, he knocked me out. Oh, well,
Yeah.
Every time you step into the cage, there's always that possibility, Like, this past fight, when Clay, he landed a head kick on me, I could have been knocked out with that head kick. Thank God I wasn't, but it did hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kick is at a point where you're thinking, like, why am I doing this? What's going on? Why am I doing this? Then you kind of snap back into it.
Yeah, as soon as it caught me, I was like, wow, you just kicked me in the head, dude.
Right?
Yeah, it was. All right, it was the first time during a fight, like, an actual fight. I mean, it's happened during training, of course, but during a fight, that was the first head kick I got caught with, and I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
this is real.
Yeah.
It's really happening.
Yeah. So that point, and from there, I mean, it was a first round, submission.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got it to the ground, pretty quickly. Once you were in that position, did you realize, what you were going for, or automatically knew, or?
Yeah, I mean, my game is fairly simple. Whenever I'm on top, it's a lot of pressure, I try to make it as miserable as possible for whoever is underneath me. And I have a very specific system that I work a lot with Coach Drew and Professor Ed Ramos, and I spent a lot of years working on it as well. Before I moved down here, and my professor Murilo Santana back in New York, he helped me refine a lot of these things, you know. So I think he's a guy that, man, I wish you guys could get him here one day. He's like top notch. He's legit.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. So if you're just joining us right now, it's 10:56. Talking to Felipe Rocha. I'm finding out at ACS MMA in Lamarck, Texas, and Ed Ramos, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know, I had the opportunity to speak to, you know, Professor, and I asked him, I was like, did you ask him, like, why are you doing MMA? You're ranked, you know, you're the number one ranked brown belt, and you're making this switch to, you know, to MMA.
Yeah.
And, you know, and he was like, yeah, you know, selfishly, but you got to kind of do what you got to do. Why make that switch?
So during the MMA, the reason why I got into jiu-jitsu was for MMA. You know, growing up, my mom was a huge MMA fan. By the way, I think she's watching right now.
Yeah.
Mom, I love you. Miss you. And she was really into MMA, still is. So as a kid, I've always watched it with her. So as I got older, you know, boys, we're always rough. We want to, you know, be alpha and all. So then I kind of got into jiu-jitsu thinking that I wanted to fight MMA, which I did. And but I really got into jiu-jitsu competitions, and I have a very obsessive personality. And once I commit myself to something, I'm going to see it through to the end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And once I made that commitment to jiu-jitsu, I was like, okay, I'm going to get really good at this, or be the best that I could be,
Yeah.
I should say, you know? And then after a while I still love jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is always going to be like my first love. I kind of felt like I just wanted a little something more, you know? And then that's when I started venturing out towards MMA. And I started working with Crew Bob for a little while. And that was a big eye-opener for me, you know? And then huge shout out to Crew Bob. He's a great guy as well. And then once I worked with Coach Drew, you know, like I said in the previous interview, just feeling like his passion for the sport, him as a coach, and the way him and I clicked, I was like, okay, I really want to do this. Like, I want to give this a shot. And I actually sent him the picture, like yesterday or the day before. The moment when we started training together, I have a habit where I write my goals on my mirrors in the house. I wrote Fury 185-pound champion. I wrote that the first day we started training together. And then now I have like the title shot for the 185-pound division.
You know, manifesting, are you a believer in that? You just like manifest, write your goals, think about it.
Mm-hmm. I write everything down. That way I always look at it. You know, it's always there.
You did that in jiu-jitsu as well?
Yeah. I have like a little piece of paper at the house that I wrote in it from like 13 years ago. The paper is kind of like yellow. It's kind of gross.
Yeah. You know, my wife will do that, and sometimes I haven't done that, but maybe I should start. Like, I'll make notes in my phone or just like mental things, but just the act of, you know, taking it, writing it down, looking at it, you know, every once and again, putting it on a mirror.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
It makes it real to me.
Yeah.
You know, like I have a journal at home that I write in it quite often. You know, just my thoughts, what about my day, what's been going on.
Yeah.
You know. And I find that it helps me a lot, especially for like the profession that I do. There's always a lot of stress, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So then me writing it out, I feel it's almost like as a way for me to just kind of just get everything out, you know.
Yeah.
And talk to myself in a way.
So this Sunday there's another Fury event.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sunday the 17th.
Yeah.
And one of your teammates is on that card, and you know, I've been trying to get him in studio for It feels like years. It hasn't been that long, but Nico's fighting on Sunday, right? I thought we were gonna have, and I even typed the description. I was so excited. I was like, Nico's coming in the studio, but then some stuff came up, huh?
Yeah, so Nico's back in college.
Yeah,
And he was going to come with me, but then I guess it didn't really work out with his schedule.
yeah.
I guess he was probably gonna be late for class or something.
I mean, even late to class one time, they should understand. Do you know what is he going to school for?
I'm
Not sure.
He told me one time, but we didn't really talk about it much. I don't remember.
He seems like a smart guy.
He's very smart.
I would love the opportunity to speak with him one day.
Yeah, no, definitely. Whenever I pick his brain,
Yeah.
The dude's a genius.
You know what I'm gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to go get a job at the college, teaching a class in communications or radio or something. I'm gonna be like, gotcha. Then I finally get my interview. Camera's gonna go on. But Nico's fighting on Sunday. Whenever you have a teammate like that's getting ready for a fight, what does that process look like for you?
So, whenever we have a teammate getting ready, we try to emulate his opponent as much as possible, and so then that's something that we were doing today. As soon as class ended, Coach Drew had Nico and I go over a couple of drills, and Coach would tell me exactly what to do, which is the habits that his opponent has, so that I would emulate it, and then Nico, he would work his counters and all to that, but yeah, it was just about just being there for our partners and just giving them our best every day, because they do that for us, I can't, man, my first fight, so I can only come up here to ACS during the daytime because I coach jiu-jitsu at night, and the daytime class is a lot smaller. So for my first fight throughout my whole camp, pretty much, Nico was my only sparring partner. He was my only training partner. So I'm very thankful for him, for everything that he's done for me. And I'm glad that in one way or another, I get to help him too, towards this fight.
Kind of return that favor
exactly,
and help him for his fight.
Yeah, and that's something that at ACS where, man, it feels has a big family vibe to it,
Yeah.
The moment when we found out that I was getting the title shot for this next fight, the next day, because I had to go take family pictures, and so I couldn't be there later on to train that Sunday. So then a bunch of the guys, they came earlier to the gym, train with me, and without hesitation, we're always there for each other, no matter, not just training fight wise, but just life in general.
I would say there's a lot going on because I'm friends with some of the guys on social media at ACS, and I think it's Mikey. They just had a baby. Yeah, just had a baby. And I'm sure he would have been fighting, on a couple of these cards that would have happened.
Yeah.
If his wife wasn't about to give birth, I'm sure, to another fighter.
For sure. Man, and Mikey's so good. I love that dude. He's such a good guy. Yeah, I'm really happy for him and his girlfriend. They just had a beautiful baby.
Yeah.
So shout out to Mikey, man.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I've seen. Even where you train, it becomes more than it's a school and you're learning and all this stuff, but you also get these friendships and relationships. Even if someone's going through something where they're not able to train, they move away. You can't really break those bonds because you've gone through these wars together. Even through training things. It's
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Look, for what we do, right? For example, with jiu-jitsu, right? I'm trusting you with my life. I'm trusting that once you have this choke in, the moment I tap, that you're gonna let go. Because if you don't let go, you're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
I think that's the ultimate sign of trust. So once you share that bond with each other, or even when we're sparring MMA, I'm trusting you not to knock me out during training, to take care of me as I would take care of you.
Yeah.
And that's a bond that you build with people that it's kind of hard to get that anywhere else. That's why you see guys at the gym, they're so tight. And I think that's why a lot of people, especially once they leave, like, for example, guys that leave the Army or the Marines, whatever, you know, over there, they build a brotherhood, right? And then once they're out and they're out on their own and they find, like, they'll look for, like, a jiu-jitsu gym
Something
or a
like
MMA
that.
gym to where they also have that kind of brotherhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something, it's very unique.
Yeah. For sure. That's you'll see that, I guess, like in the military a long time ago, I guess after Vietnam, you see those motorcycle clubs, like what they call motorcycle gangs or clubs. That's where those kind of started from. But then, you will see these guys, join jiu-jitsu or those different things. And it's there's so many stories on the mats. There's this guy, Kenny Kim. He's out of Atlanta, Georgia, and he has a school out there. And he started something called Mat Made, and it's a series just going to these different schools, kind of listening to people's stories because there's so many, And I think, you could do something like that in Houston, specifically, and never leave because there's so many different gyms and stories.
You see people from all walks of life, man.
Yeah.
Like I've heard some crazy stories on the mat, and like I said, I love it. I love all the people I've met, all the connections I've made, and through the sport, I've got everything to like where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Pays for my home, pays my bills, my food, all that. So very thankful for everything.
What do you think you'd be doing if you never? I remember the story. You walked into the thinking it was MMA gym. You walked in. What do you think you'd be doing right now if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu?
So there was a point where I don't know if the exact word would be like I was burnt out.
Yeah.
But I was just at a point in life. I was like at a very strange point in my life to where like I wasn't really making money off of jiu-jitsu, at all. I was, really still training really hard, but I kind of felt a little stuck. So then I started looking into the fire department and the police department back in New York. And I actually scored really good grades on like both tests. And but just as I was going through that process, that's when I got the job to teach jiu-jitsu out here. And then I decided to make it like give it my last shot. I was like, you know what? Let's just do it.
Give it everything.
Give it everything. So then that way it's like if it doesn't work out, I'll be like, okay, I give it a shot. But if I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu, I probably would be doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe a police officer or firefighter.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I guess it's something that like it's a job that it still gives me like that adrenaline that I like so much,
Yeah.
I guess that's another reason why I do what I do is just the adrenaline, that feeling, you don't really get that anywhere else, I guess, and then I think like those jobs will probably still give me the same feeling in a way. So I think that's why I probably ended up going towards that direction.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, making that walk to the cage and all that stuff. Was that similar to your jiu-jitsu experience, or is that a whole different thing, different level?
I have done a lot of like super fights in jiu-jitsu, and they do have like a little walkout as well. I wouldn't say it's not this. It doesn't feel the same as MMA. I have fought like a lot of jiu-jitsu events. Like I've done finals of like world championships. I've won belts for like Fight to Win, Submission Hunter, but nothing quite feels the same like MMA. It's just different, like you're walking towards this cage where, they're going to you're going to step in, you and another guy, they're going to lock those doors.
Yeah.
And it's like, fight. And then you're just like, oh my God. It's like, like one of you, you're either going to get knocked out or submitted, if it doesn't go the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those, it's just a thrill. It's just awesome.
So November 21st, that's your next fight. It's for the middleweight championship. What's your ultimate goal, I guess, as an amateur, and what's your goal for the long run in MMA?
So right now, the goal as an amateur is just to get as much experience as I possibly can. to win every belt I could possibly get my hands on. And the same is going to go for when I go pro, you know. Try to get my hands on every belt I could possibly get my hands on. Like I said before, I have a very obsessive personality. So when I committed to this, I made a commitment to myself that I want to be the best in the world. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going for.
Do you have any plans to compete in jiu-jitsu like for the rest of this year or next year?
So for right now, not really. It has been a long year, and I was actually talking to my girlfriend about it not too long ago. I've been in camp for fights for like the past like 3 months straight.
Yeah, say like 3 fights in like less than 6 months.
Yeah,
you know,
I've done 3 fights in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, usually normally fighters do 3 fights a year.
Yeah.
I've done 3 in 2 months. You know, so I'm a little tired, and but I'm feeling great. You know, I feel great, and but I know that after this fight, I need to just give my body a little rest. I'm gonna go back home to see my family. I miss them. I haven't seen my folks in a little while, so it's about time for me to go back up there and see them.
In New York, right?
In New York,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. To go up there, see them, see my teammates up there. It'll be good. You know, it'll be around the time for the holidays as well, so it'll be nice to do that.
What are some other things? I mean, you know, your family and teammates and stuff like that. What are some other things you miss about home in New York, whether it's food or anything like that? Something we don't have here is not quite the same.
So the main thing about New York that I miss is just the convenience of things. You know?
Yeah.
Like, for example, New York, you don't need a car. You could literally get anywhere in New York with, like, the train. You know, you pay your $2, boom, train. Okay, you go anywhere. And then just New York everything is open, like, 24 hours. You know? So you can always get anything, like, anywhere. It's just the convenience of the city. You know?
Yeah, Houston's totally different.
Yeah. That's something that in California shocked me a lot. Like, in California, 9 p.m., everything shuts down. And me being from New York, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why is everything closed?
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, that's the main thing I missed. Just the convenience of things. And obviously, you know, my family, friends, miss that. And I actually do miss the winter, man. I like the cold weather.
Yeah.
You know?
It's probably because of all the training. It's like always constantly hot and sweating. It's probably different. Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about, like, as soon as you step outside and when that chill of, like, -5 degrees.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Hits your skin.
Dude, yeah, not me. Like, it's good for a visit. Like, if I go somewhere with cold weather, hey, I can handle it. You know, I got my jacket on. But to live in it, that's what I always think about. I was like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I don't think.
Dude, it's easier to deal with the cold than it is with the heat. Because think about it. Because with the cold, you bundle up, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
You know? But with the heat, no matter how many layers you take off, you're still hot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
I'll take the cold.
It's true. Man, I still got to go with the heat. I guess it probably goes to what you're accustomed to. You know, what you grew up in it. I was like, no, I know I can handle the heat, the humidity. Yeah, it's not the best, but we can always turn the air up. It's the other way around. We can always turn up the AC. In New York, a lot of places, what I've seen, like, don't have, like, central air. You know?
No.
They don't have it.
It's a lot of window units. You know, I know just recently it's starting to become common over there to have, like, central air. But I'll tell you what, man, in my opinion, though, I think the humidity during New York summer is worse than here.
It is? Huh.
It gets hot. It's disgusting. Oh, my God, it's horrible. And I don't know if it's just because the city, everything is just, like, so tightly packed.
Yeah.
Why it feels like it's so hot. But to me, the summer up there feels way hotter than here. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just so many people.
Maybe. that could be why.
Besides combat sports, are there any other sports that you're into or that you follow?
I love basketball.
Yeah.
I'm a huge basketball fan for years. I'm a Knicks fan, so I've been suffering with them for years.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like they're gonna get it together anytime soon. But
Hey, last year they put a squad together. I guess they had Julius Randle.
yeah, they had a good little run. But I can't see them.
It was like good for like the last 10 years of Knicks basketball. I was like, hey, we're kind of winning some games.
I'll say more than 10. Like the last time the Knicks probably had like a winning season was like 2001.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, but man, and yeah, I guess they went to the finals against the Rockets. That first year, '94, and then they went back and lost to the Spurs.
Right?
Yeah, lost to the Spurs whenever Tim Duncan was coming up. I love basketball too.
Tim Duncan, man.
Oh, he's a beast.
Love
yeah,
that dude. Oh my God, he's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Do you follow the Rockets at all? James Harden left. He went to Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and now the Rockets kind of got a young squad, and it's hard to follow whenever you don't know. Like the team's so bad, and it's like these first-year players, but there's something to be excited about, at least with Rockets basketball this year. It's Jalen Green. He was the number 2 draft pick, and at least there's something. So
yeah. So ever since I moved down to Houston, I found that a lot of my friends were Astros fan.
Yeah.
So now I've never really been into baseball. It was just too slow for me.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of trying to get into it just because so many of my friends are into it.
Yeah.
And when they start talking about it, I'm just there like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. They play today. It's a playoff game number 4. I guess that the Astros, it's the first to win 3. So the Astros have won 2, and they're in Chicago. They were supposed to play yesterday, got postponed. I'm guessing weather. So I believe it's today at 1. So it's always the season's so long. It's 100-something games.
Oh my God.
And the playoffs, the games sometimes move slow, but playoff baseball is a little bit different. And the Astros, whenever they aren't getting caught for cheating, put together a good squad. So man, and they also play exciting ball because it's just like home run, put the ball in play. But if it's like a 0-2 game, it's just like somebody do something.
Yeah. One of my favorite sporting experiences was actually with hockey. I went to a Rangers game one time back in New York. I went with my mom, and man, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
like the crowd, and they get real crazy.
Let them fight a little bit.
Yeah, there was actually a fight on the on the ice ring. It was real quick, and it's so fast paced, and it was one of those sports that never really caught my attention before. But being there in that environment, I developed like a big appreciation for it. And then I tried ice skating one time, and it was really hard. Let's just say that didn't go.
It's
too
like
well.
respect to you guys for out there. They're moving
to that.
like they're just running out there.
Exactly.
What about soccer? Have you followed that at all?
So I was born in Brazil.
Yeah.
I hate soccer. I can't stand it. I don't know. I just never got into it. It was just never my cup of tea. I tried it, just because you live in Brazil. They're like, oh yeah, I know soccer. I tried playing it. I did it for a little bit. It was just never my cup of tea, man. I just never enjoyed it.
In New York, I wonder about soccer because like a lot of places, like in Brazil or whatever, it's like, hey, you just need a ball. Like even over here, you just got to field on a ball and you can go and have fun. But in New York, a lot of depending on where you're at, a lot of stuff is kind of stacked up, and so there's not that just much green space open for people just to go play.
Yeah, they do have a couple of fields.
Yeah,
I know about like Chelsea Piers. They have like a couple of fields out there for people to play in. But if you go outside of the city, there is quite a bit of green. Yeah. So when people think New York, they just think Manhattan. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Bronx, and that's the concrete jungle. There's like no green at all, really. But then once you make your way outside towards like Westchester County and all that, it's a lot of green out there. Yeah, especially because my parents, they moved to Portchester right before I came down here, and that's like borderline Connecticut, and there's like tons of green out there. It's very pretty, especially now like around the fall when the leaves start changing colors and all, man, it's beautiful. Yeah, that's something that we don't get here. That would be cool, like all the fall, like the colors and all that stuff. Yeah, we don't quite get that. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's gorgeous. All right, so we talked a bit about your fights coming up November 21st. That's going to be for Fury Fighting Championship for the 185 pound title. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? You want to talk about today? No. I mean, I feel like we covered a lot today, man. Yeah. We spoke a lot. Now, once again, I just always like to thank everyone, you know, my teammates, my coaches, my girlfriend Claudia. You know, she's been real good, like keeping me sane throughout this whole process. My mom, my dad, back in New York. You know, love you guys, miss you guys a lot, and my dogs. I love my dogs. You know,
Yeah.
those are my babies, and besides that, you know, we've just been focused, working, trying to get this title fight out of the way. You know, get the belt, and then enjoy the holidays.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's a plan. It should be as easy as 1, 2, 3. Say it right. It's like
exactly
good to go. Hey man, I appreciate you hanging out this morning.
Thanks for having me.
This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM.